studying the source now. Supreme Elite, New Empire Talk. Came on reading numbers, they were reading memes. We was reading filings, planning out the dream. Turn every late fee in the case law heat. Judge bang gavel, he don't skip a beat. They like how you flip stress into assets. How you turn a loss in the last check. Thomas took notes, broke codes, then he proved it. Now the classroom global and the language fluid. Thomas is the blueprint. Write that in the sky, let the crew print. From the courtroom smoke to the new man. He designed the way we move our 2 cents. Thomas is the blueprint. Supreme Elite team, that's the school stamp. From the first lay bill to the full camp. New culture empire, watch the flag plan. Supreme Elite Team University. Turn the credit score into currency. Turn the closed door to a first key. Turn the side job to a legacy. He beat odds, then he beat litigation. Now we teach law like a new translation. From confusion into consultation. From survival into foundation. They log in, lights on in their eyes now. Section this, law that. They reply now. He like, know your rights, then apply now. God, that's the real drip. Let it dry now. Thomas is the blueprint. Write that in the sky, let the crew print. From the courtroom smoke to the new man. He designed the way we move our 2 cents. Thomas is the blueprint. Supreme Elite team, that's the school stamp. Wave it. From the first lay bill to the full camp. New culture empire, watch the flag plan. From the bench to the block, he reversed that. Put the power in the pen, yeah, he birthed that. Every mind that he frees, that's a verse that. Whole culture on the rise, you can search that. Hey. Thomas is the blueprint. Write that in the sky, let the blueprint. From the courtroom smoke to the movement. He designed the way we move our 2 cents. Thomas is the blueprint. Supreme Elite team, that's the school stamp. From the first lay bill to the full camp. New culture empire, watch the flag plan.
You're rocking with the best. You're rocking with the best. You're rocking with the best.
Yeah, we are back for night 2, part 2 of the Cat Files. Now, video 1 was already uploaded. Video 1's already uploaded. You already know what time it is with that. And we're going to get back into it. But I just want to, before we get started, before we get into that, I just wanted y'all to understand from last night's video, as you can see, how dangerous this space has become. And it's become dangerous because they'll actually have people filing these forms. Like the 76,000, and there's and the way you show how the money was actually created or the taxes withheld is by food stamp vouchers. Like food stamp vouchers, bank statements, and things that has nothing to do with actual tax withholding. When the IRS reverses that, she's going to overbuild. She's already on Section 8. The lady is already on Section 8. She don't need any more unnecessary bills. And this is the highlight, that it's a strategic market. Strategic marketing to people who are in vulnerable and desperate situations. Because you don't have to be a millionaire, but if you just have enough money to actually take care of your bills and just have a little bit left where you're just comfortable, many people are not going to take those risks, especially if they've been getting consistent tax returns every year. They're not going to mess that up. So the people who are partaking in these things are people who are just taking chance, all for the same money that these same guru says has no value. Federal Reserve notes, only gold and silver. I find that to be very interesting, that they're purposely marketing their products to people who has no understanding and cannot decipher whether what the person is saying or advocating for is accurate, or authentic, and in accordance in what the laws allow. So they're just taking this person's words because they put up a screen, they can talk good, and they can make it sound good. And the key point of it all is free money. If there wasn't no debt elimination of free money, they would have nothing to market. So people are being entrapped by the allure of free money. And if you're in a vulnerable situation, in a financial dilemma, 76,000 looks good. So you don't mind paying 500 to 1,000 or whatever in exchange for 76,000. That's just like, remember the Cash App scams? Hey, send $50 and get $350 in 20 minutes. You might as well be doing that. It is not legal. It's not legit. So we're about to get started, man. But God damn. And they're going to stand on it. They're never going to be wrong.
I came up.
They're never going to be wrong. They're going to stand on it. They're going to defend it. You know they're going to defend it. Where did we leave off? I think we left off right here. So TikTok, we are live at the New Culture Empire on YouTube, TikTok. YouTube, y'all ready? Everybody's ready? We ready to go? Everybody's cool? Let's run it.
You're rocking with the best.
Let me pay my bills, get the commercial out the way, and we can get right into it.
Don't miss out on this opportunity to litigate like a seasoned professional. Join the Supreme Elite Team University.
Thomas in the lobby. Folder thicker than a skyline. Credit acceptance on a resume with stories in the fine lines.
All right, let's run it.
Bearing number were searched through an independent database, confirmed with the trading desk, and at least one was confirmed on per the reports issued and attached to this result. The fund manager and other custodians of the account of funds may have access to internal records indicating detailed data about percentage or interest as held for the account from this person. And this is a QSIP. So you go get that notarized, and guess what? Now you can send that along with your copy of your QSIP showing that the QSIP has this amount of money in there with your name on it.
Okay. This is, give me 1 second. This is where things start to get tricky. Because for one, there is never a QSIP with your name on it. That's number one. There's never a CUSIP with your name on it. CUSIPs don't operate like that. There's not a CUSIP that you can find from a court case that has your name on it, that has this going on, that has that going on, or none of the likes. So the CUSIP that she's talking about as a matter of law is fraudulent. And once again, the notary does nothing. The notary does nothing. This is not 1854. Sorry. We are not in fucking a different country. We're in the United States of America. A CUSIP number is not going to ever have your name on it. It just identifies a security. It doesn't give you any rights to payment. It does none of that. CUSIPs Global is the only authorized agency in the United States of America that issues CUSIPs number. I called them, and when I spoke to them, they told me they get calls all the time about CUSIPs for birth certificates, court case, social security numbers, and these are the people that issues CUSIPs. But the belief is so strong, people were responding, well, they're not going to tell you. Well, if they're not going to tell you, then how do you know? These are the people that are legally authorized to issue CUSIPs, and they got an office in Canada. I find it very interesting how all these, well, don't listen to what they say because they just being a gatekeeper. But y'all just know it all. Y'all know. It's not like you're authorized to do the things that you're doing. It's always the people who is responsible for processing the documents. When they say something that's different from what the person believes, they always want to discredit the agencies that's responsible for processing the documents you about to send to them. I thought sovereigns ain't supposed to deal with the government and taxes. Like, I just don't understand how they continue to put themselves under these people's jurisdictions by the same time claiming they're not under these people's jurisdictions. You're still filing tax returns. You're still filling out applications for financing. You're still filing lawsuits. But the first thing that comes out of your mouth, oh, I'm not under jurisdiction. I'm not under this law. I'm under this law. It doesn't work like that.
So it should match the CUSIP.
Look at that right there. That is the same CUSIPs that the scam teachers were selling. Midwest has sold it. The private administrator trust dude on private equity bank trust dude on TikTok sells it. They've been selling it on Facebook. All the gurus who has CUSIPs for sales, why do they all have the same red arrow number, red arrows? In which they took that arrow from a legit site and just implanted on the goddamn thing. I had a client in 2023 that paid money for that CUSIP. I have a copy of the real CUSIP, and it says it has the same thing. The only thing's different is the name. You see that? They just put the name on there. They put the name on the CUSIP, and look at this. BlackRock Impact Mortgage Fund, symbol. Inception date 1996, and it's always some 300 million, 400 million portfolio. A little about this fund. How does every person that's a CUSIP for sale, it all has the same characteristics on the document? It doesn't make sense.
So I've been running a lot of different ones. So this one, the name that's on the affidavit or that's on the CUSIPs that match the CUSIP that you put on the 1099B. So this is the back of the Social Security card. We ran that.
You're lying. So what is that? You know what? Let's run it. Let's run it. Shit. Let's run it. You know what? Let's run it. Hold on.
112. I got.
Let's run it. Let's run that QSIP. We live on the new on YouTube. Let's run it. Let's run it. Okay, so what did she say? What did she say that was on here?
The other ones.
09260 B341. 092 QSIP number 09260 B341. I believe that's what it said. Yep, that's what it says. Let's run that. And let's take this off for a second. And let's put this up here. Let's remove you and put you up here. Let's run that QSIP. 092. Let's see where I can find right here. Here we go. BlackRock. So this is the QSIP number, right? This is what it shows in a real QSIP. It's going to show the fund name. And 092, let's go down to 09260 B31. 0924. We're going to go down to, let me increase it a little bit. TikTok, we on the New Culture Empire on YouTube. So we got 09260 T49. 09260. I don't see a 0925. 0925. I don't see a 09253. 091. I don't see it, but any 0925. I don't see a 60 here, but if you look, regardless, okay, we might be getting somewhere. 092 B341. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. Well, that's it. So, anyways, regardless, right? Regardless, I think it's close up in here. So, even though we don't find it, but if you look here, these are the investors. So, the fund name, look at these: BlackRock Commodities, BlackRock Core. That's who's issuing the QSIPs. That's the share class. It's either going to be institutional investors, people who purchase Class K securities, institutional, investor A, investor C, right? And the QSIP number there. And that's the ticker symbol. And that's the date it's recorded. And that's the expected dividend rate, right? And that's the payable date. And this is what they get per share. And these are the dividend income, capital gains, long-term gains, right? What about this has anything to do with this?
So this one lady
right here.
So
What look. Look. Hold on. Damn it.
and this is a QSIP. So you go get that notarized, and guess what? Now you can send that along with your copy of your QSIP showing that the QSIP has this amount of money in there with your name on it. So it should match.
Right. So we just looked up the real QSIPs for this BlackRock. And this is what they do. The inception date, right? 1996. That's not on the official QSIP I just looked up. And the name. Look, you see what they did? They put the person's name there. Jeannie Guerra Thomas. But if you look here, the ones who are actually investing in the QSIPs, this is them right here. This their names. So how does you don't see her name here? It's either an institutional investor or an investor who purchased a specific class A, class investor C, investor A. So why is her name on under a BlackRock securities? You don't see her name nowhere near. Look, there's no, where's the name? These are real QSIPs. The ticker symbol, daily dividends, the payable dates. There's no inception date 1996, because you want to know why? The 1996, that's the person's birthday. Nobody's birthday is ever on a QSIP. It just identifies a security, who issued it right here over to the left. The investor, look, the QSIP number, the date it was recorded, the expected dividend rate, the payable date, and the shares per distribution. What about what Tori Martin is talking about that will give that person any legal interest in a QSIP in which they just found online? None of this is related to a birth certificate or the numbers on and letters on the back of your social security card. They are making these things up, and you're paying money for a QSIP under the belief that they actually found a bond associated with your, identifying numbers, birth certificate or social security number. Then they tell you to put that on a tax return, and then got the nerve to say the IRS is going to audit that QSIP. Audit the QSIP for what? This is a frivolous filing. People has received frivolous filings for certain these types of claims. But it doesn't matter, because this is y'all gurus. Long as they say free money, y'all going to ride with them. Y'all going to be all with them, as long as they're telling you something that you want to hear.
So, I've been running a lot of different ones. So this one, the name that's on the affidavit or that's on the QSIPs that match the QSIP that you put on the 1099B.
It's not matching because you're not an investor.
So this is the back of the Social Security card. We ran that. 312. I got 13 other ones we did for this one lady.
So you ran the back of the Social Security card. Okay. Well, let's run the back of a Social Security card. Yeah, let's run it. Let's look up a bond. Let's see. QSIPs Globals. Told you, QSIPs Globals. This is the only agency in the United States and Canada, I've called them, that is authorized to issue QSIPs. So how are you running the QSIP? Look, this is the only agency. Look, here's the data search. Right? Right? This is data search. And you got to set up, look, you got to have a login, password. These are the only people that's allowed to issue these things. I don't need all that. These are the only agencies right here. QSIPs Global. Now, if you look here, look. These are the fund family. Look. Sell only. Institutional investors. Look, there's nothing there. You are not going to find your QSIP with putting the numbers in your back of the Social Security card. You're not. You are not. It doesn't work like that. Can I find a QSIP number associated with the letter and number on the back of my social security card. And I have a case law where a person filed a lawsuit against the government for the same thing. And the courts called it the sovereign citizen. All you got to do is go to United States Courts of Federal Claims, and you're going to see hundreds and hundreds of cases, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cases where people have filed lawsuits against the government and the courts and all that because they wasn't honoring their claims and their funds and their money from their CUSIPs. And every single court case was rejected. There's no, well, you got to go private. Don't go in the court. Go, no. All that deny in public, but honor in private. It's another way of saying, I got to keep the story going. No, you cannot find a CUSIP on the back of your social security card because social security cards do not have CUSIP numbers. A CUSIP number stands for the Committee on Uniform Securities Identification Procedures. They are unique non-digit character alphanumeric codes strictly to identify financial instruments like stocks, commercial paper, municipal bonds, and government bonds. They have no connections to citizens or identity documents. There is a widespread internet conspiracy theory claiming that every U.S. citizen has a secret straw man, as Tori used, straw man. I told you she's a sovereign citizen. Bank account or government bond tied to their birth certificate or social security number. These myths claim that you can use the red numbers on the back of your card to cash out or access secret funds. How can I obtain the CUSIP number for my social security number? The retirement accountant will know how easy to say. Please provide more details so we can assist you. Hi, clarity. The number on the back of the social security is a tax professional. The number on the back of the social security cards is not a CUSIP. No, I don't have a tax question. Thank you. It's not a CUSIP number. CUSIP numbers are introduced only in 1964. According to the Social Security Administration, the number serves as an inventory control. It's a control number. You know what the numbers and letters on the back of your social security card mean? It just controls in its inventory of the card that was issued. It's like okay, we issued this card. Okay, we issued this card. Oh, this person came and got a social security number. Okay, we issued him this card. And the letters and numbers goes into their control system. It's a trace number. It's a trace number. So in their system, it shows that this social security card was issued to this person. They lost their social security card 4 years later. Okay, we issued them another one. The letter and numbers represents it. I know what you're thinking. Well, the numbers on the back of the Social Security corresponds with the letter of the 12 Federal Reserve banks and the same 8-digit numbers. Right. It means nothing. Meaning each paper blank has a unique number that can be tracked. Meaning they can track the Social Security card. That's all it's saying. This was confirmed by the U.S. Bankruptcy Trustee's Office, which found it to be a sequential control number. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly the name that they told me with Social Security when I called them in 2022. On the back of a legitimate card, there is a sequential number composed of a combination of letters and numbers that does not correspond to the actual social security number on the card. However, the SSA's computer records should link the control number with the social security number and the name on the card. I have personally attempted to obtain my own control number from the SSA without success. Its purpose is strictly for inventory control and nothing else. It is possible that a law enforcement agency can correlate this number to the range of social security numbers it tracks, but but I have not identified such an agency. There are many myths online claiming this number is a secret bank routing number or a bond number granting access to Social Security funds. But these are urban legends. Ultimately, possessing this number would not provide any actionable benefit. Hopefully, this clarifies the matter. It's a good example of how misinformation can spread on the internet. There you go. A person that I went down this road. I researched this road. I called. I'm telling you. And if I'm lying, pull up on my stream, ask for the link, and show me that you are living, you accessed it, and you're sitting on millions from your bank account. Because every time I tell, okay, show me you access yours, the conversation stops. Ladies and gentlemen, I am not in the business of defending things that I'm not benefiting from in real life, in my everyday life. I'm not benefiting from. It's a waste of energy.
Give her Q-SIF. So then I created her affidavit because we just did her taxes. She's getting back like $850,000.
That's a lie. You can hear that. Oh, she's getting eight. It's a lie. 850,000 or fraudulent. No. You see? Now, once again, just pay attention to what I'm saying. Just pay attention. If you had your businesses and you were legit and you file your taxes, everything's going just okay in life, would you try to risk something like that? Or would you be good with what you got going on? Would you be like, nah, I don't want to mess up what I got going on? That's why the people who actually touch that money, they don't mess around with this. The only people who's going to expect the $800,000 tax returns are the ones who don't even clear $70,000 a year. It's for the lower middle class, and it's for people who feel like they're in poverty. And it's a shame how they are taking advantage and throwing money. It's all it is. Hey, free money, free money. You know, many people that's in the lower classes in life, they look at free money like a lifesaver because they're tired of their immediate situation. They're tired of struggling. So you're trying to do anything to get up out of it. And then you have mixed that in with people who are greedy, a greedy spirit. This is all this is. There's no foundational understanding. This is why people feel like they got scammed over and over, because they're never partaking in a class, a study that's going to build foundation, because foundation is not instant gratification. Foundation is delayed gratification. When you're building a foundation, you're not building a foundation for today. You're building a foundation for the future. We keep trying to take a process now to go benefit from it tomorrow. This is where the debt elimination stuff comes in at. It doesn't work like that in real life.
So they're going to ask, they're going to send that letter, and they're going to say, hey, how did you get this withholding? Now, where people messing up is by putting it in federal withholding. And state estimated tax that's the dummies out here that's trying to find ways to make the tax return look good so they can get people to pay them up front, and then these people get stuck with nothing because they're not going to get nothing.
You are doing the same thing. You're doing the same thing. This is a fraudulent Q-SIF number that you're putting on the screen. You're doing the same thing. You are actively doing the same thing. Blasphemy.
They're going to get a frivolous filing. So I'm saying that because I don't know if y'all doing it, but I'm just giving an example.
Like the frivolous filings you got. Like the frivolous filings your clients got.
The people that's doing that is burnt out. So
no, we care about what we're doing over here.
Okay, good. So basically your whole thing is to
remember the 1099B. Hold on. Remember? Hold on. Look, see how she got it on the screen? Hold on. Remember yesterday? Hold on. Let's go here. Remember? Watch this. Remember?
I want you to read. I want you to read what they said. Remember what they said? Look. Let's go down here. Look. Right? Look at this. Scam artist instructs people to file bogus tax returns electronically with the expectation of getting a substantial refund due to the large amount of the fraudulent withholdings. Right? See how they have her manually do it? Remember, they tell them to do it manually. What is she doing right now? She's putting in the stuff manually. She's doing it manually. That's exactly what she's doing right here. There you go. Look, the overstated withholding scam is a scheme on social media encouraging people to use tax software to manually complete Form W-2, wage and tax statement, or other information returns and 1099-Bs in there to include false income withholding information. Now, let's go back to the live. What is she doing right here? What is she doing?
Increase the pro.
What is she doing? She's doing it manually. She's doing everything that the tax advocate said it's a scam. She is actively doing it in her webinar right now. She is actively doing it in her webinar. Look, she's actively doing it.
You're rocking with the best.
Proceeds. Make sure the cost basis is just enough to leave you a federal refund.
What do you do? What? You get a federal refund based on all your documents, your receipts, of your income and your deductions and any withholdings that were actually paid to the government. Once that's calculated, then you can input your federal withholding. They're making up the federal withholding. That's what they all do. They make the numbers up.
What do you think, Vince?
I love it. I love it. As a matter of fact, what y'all doing around 3:30, 4 o'clock?
I'm booked. I'm booked till 6 o'clock.
And everybody that's booked with her, these are the people who are either sovereign citizens who think like her, or people in vulnerable, desperate situations, or people who are filled with greed and trying to look for some free extra money. They would stay away from Set U. You want to know why they stay away from Set U? Because Set U puts you back in college. Set U is time consuming. Set U is intricate. Set U will actually have you thinking like the ones who perpetrate that system every day. You will know your enemy. You will know how they operate. But guess what? Well, I need something that I can go use tomorrow. I need a document I can send in tomorrow. That's why they stay away.
I know I got a lot of.
But if you send me a link, are you gonna need me to talk, or am I coming in to listen? Because I can listen, but I'm doing taxes.
Oh no, I just wanted to build again with you. That's all.
Okay, yeah, we can do again. Let me see. What's my schedule in the morning?
Notice how she is yet to show an income tax refund check with the transcript showing that it's stuck. She hasn't shown one. She said, oh, I got this. You know, they're so quick to show you little shit that they got. She hasn't shown one yet. She hasn't shown no real success of what she's talking about yet. She has not shown not one success. She has not shown one success. Not at all. She can't, like, hey, you know, the way I teach, you know, you're going to understand accounting, you're going to understand corporate finance, you'll understand the regulatory lens, you're going to understand the investor lens, and that's going to put your consumer complaint into class action lawsuit status. And if you follow the blueprint, the chances of you winning is extremely high. As a matter of fact, I'm not experimenting on you. I went and did it myself. I used the same things, the core elements that I teach. I did it myself as the teacher. I did it myself. See, this is something you can actually be inspired by. Damn. See, I did it. I led the way first. I didn't teach set you until the settlement was completed. And I received my title free and clear. No more obligations. That's when I did set you. Nah, that's too much like writing these spaces.
Because I'm right.
So that's
Now,
what
let me ask you another question, Tori. We know that we automatically get the cancellation of debt with this when we file the B, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, so no, there's no automatic cancellation of debt when you file the B. What it does, like I said, is it could possibly initiate a audit if the company is not up to state on their books.
That is factually incorrect. A 1099-B does not trigger an audit. They've already reported the proceeds to the IRS because the 1099-B is in your wage and tax statements. So that's already money you receive. And the only time, I'm going to say it again, there should be a withholding on your 1099-Bs is if the IRS instructed you to do it, or the recipient provided a inaccurate social security number, or didn't provide one at all, or they didn't refuse to sign the W-9. That's when you're supposed to withhold 24%. There are no other instances in a normal 1099-B where there should be a withholding. In fact, if the IRS sees a large withholding on a 1099-B, it's automatically going to trigger a red flag in their system, because 1099-Bs are not theirs, because it's only dealing with money that you already received. It's not dealing with withheld investors, security. It's dealing with money that you've already received. You've already received the benefit. And they're reporting the money that they paid you, that they redeemed their stock, like when you cash in your Bitcoins. This is why you get those 1099-Bs from Cash App, Block, but you get your 1099 from Coinbase. Every time you got cryptocurrency, it's going to come under a 1099-B. You know when you cashed in that 1099-B, that crypto, so you already received the money. Come on, let's act like we don't know what's going on here.
But that does not always happen. It does not always cancel the debt right out immediately. Now, it does alert the company that you have reported on them. So it actually gives them a chance to, hey, let's go do the 1099-A real quick on them and state that they abandoned the property.
No, you're factually incorrect again. Okay. Since you want to go there, let's do it. Let's do it. Since you want to go there, let's do it. Okay, once again, 1099-A instructions. A 1099-A is only for the person in the course of their trade or business who has lent money secured by real property, and they have reason to believe that a person has abandoned the property. You normally see a 1099-A in a foreclosure thing or things like that. File Form 1099-A for each borrower if you lend money in connection with your trade or business, and in full or partial satisfaction of the debt, you acquire an interest in that property that is security for the debt, or you have reason to know that the property has been abandoned. You need not be in the business of lending money to subject to this reporting requirement. This is where they get that, oh, I can use it now. No. If you loan money, if I loan you money and you pledge your motorcycle for the repayment of debt, and you don't pay me the money, and I dispose of your motorcycle, I have to send you a 1099-A. right here. For each borrower, if file Form 1099-A, for each borrower, if you lend money, stop right there. If you lend money, so when y'all filing these 1099-As, you're telling the IRS that you loan somebody money. Now, this would be a good opportunity for you to stand on. Remember, I'm the real creditor. I really lent them something. The note, I gave them the note. The note created the credit. Remember? So if that's what you believe, file the 1099-A and see what happens. These are the same people that actually think the note comes before the money. These are the people who believe that when they signed the note at closing, that they took the note to the back and that they deposited into an account and they ledgered the debits and the credits. Remember, that's the social media's level of accounting. They ledgered the debits and the credits, or what's another word they use? The double bookkeeping entries. And then that's how you was able to buy your home. What they don't understand, because they don't understand corporate financing, is that the money was already paid to the seller before you signed the note. See, they're going to push back against that now. Why? Because it just totally destroys the note created the credit. No, the money was already there before you signed the note. See, this is where the belief, the need to be right, I can't be wrong, all the stuff I've been studying, I don't want to feel like I've been studying nothing. So they're going to be like, no, that's not how it goes. And if you don't believe what I'm saying, then that means you don't know what you think you know. Because what I'm saying is nothing but common knowledge in that world. It's common knowledge. It's not even a discussion. Everybody knows how it goes up there. It's only down here where people who can't tell shit from apple butter automatically becomes experts in every topic. Right here. So, did you loan anybody any money? Did you loan anybody any money? Huh? But right here. We just read it. Right? If in the same calendar year you cancel a debt of $600 or more in connection with a foreclosure or abandonment of secured property, it's not necessary to file both Form 1099-As and 1099-C for the same debtor. You may file Form 1099-C only. You will meet your 1099-A filing requirements for the debtor by completing boxes 4, 5, and 7 of Form 1099-C. However, if you file both Forms 1099-A and C, do not complete boxes 4, 5, and 7 on Form 1099-C. See specific instructions for Form 1099-C later. See, I told you, when they hold their classes, they don't never hold their classes directly from the horse's mouth. And when they pull up a statute or regulation, they're going to take one sentence that fits their narrative and then structure the whole statute around that one sentence, that one word. Now the statute means what I wanted to believe. I told you, this is nothing more than a belief system space. This is why, shut me up. Show me the wins and mess. Where everybody winning at? Where are the wins at? Everybody knows so much. Where are the wins at? Where are all the wins at? You actually have wins left and right. You actually have titles. Refunds that actually stick left and right. Where's it at? Where's it at? If I'm so wrong, if I'm just running my mouth, why hasn't people shut me up with the actual receipts real measurable results. Why they shut me up with the assets coming back in their names free and clear? Huh? That's the only way you're going to shut me up. That's the only way you're going to shut me up, is by showing your actual real life benefits from this. I'm not talking about your scam processes. That's the only way you're going to shut me up. If you're not shutting me up, there ain't nothing to talk about. Who must file? In addition to the general rules above, the following rules apply. These are who must file: multiple owners of a single loan, a governmental unit, any subsequent holder of a loan is treated as a lender and is required to report events occurring after the loan is transferred to the new holder. Multiple lenders. For example, if a first trust holder forecloses on a building and the second trust holder has reason to know of such foreclosure, the second trust holder must file Form 1099-A for the second trust, even though no part of the second trust was satisfied by the proceeds of the foreclosure sale. What about this 1099-A that I'm reading that is giving you and I the authorization to file this form? Skip the boss. Yeah. Yeah, you was teaching this too. Tamika, yeah. Miss Jackson, yeah. Midwest, yeah. Jonah Bay, yeah. Yusuf L, yeah. Patrick Devine, yeah. Gene Keating, yeah. Eon, yeah. All of them. All of them. But when I told thee, I remember reading the comment, hey, I filed the 1099-A. It's been 2 weeks. I haven't received the check yet. All I said was, don't wait up on it because you're not getting it, because the 1099-A is only usually filed in connection with foreclosure cases. That's all I said. This woman was so triggered that her whole hopes and dreams was, she sent me a paragraph cussing me out, calling me an agent, a government spy, this. All because I said something that didn't align with what she wanted to believe was coming to her. But these are the people that's going to get victories. These are the people who wins. Now, let's go right here. Okay. What is Form 1099-A 99A used for? Yeah, we'll just stick with that. IRS Form 1099-A, officially titled Acquisition or Abandonment of Secure Property, is an informational tax document. It's let me add that. It's an information return. That's all it is. It's an information return. You're just informing the IRS. It's not a document that you file with the IRS to get a check back. See, we got to get out this low-hanging fruit, free money. I just need money, quick money processes. This is why people are losing, because they can only think about either debt elimination or free money. So they're going to tie every process and make it fit that narrative. It's used by lenders to support when they take ownership of a property through foreclosure, or where a borrower abandons a property that served as collateral for a loan. If you receive this form, it means your lender has reported the transaction to the IRS. When a foreclosure or abandonment occurs, the IRS treats the event as a deemed sale of the asset. Even though you did not sell the property via traditional market listing, you are considered to have disposed of it in exchange for debt relief. Form 1099A tracks the financial details of this transaction. The lender, who files it and who receives it? The lender files it. Banks, mortgage companies, or credit unions submit copy A to the IRS and sends copy B to you. The borrower receives it. If you receive it, you walked away from a property, went through foreclosure, or had secure property repossessed. Right there. So let me ask you a question. What about
Your main thing.
What about that form? What the IRS says, reading what we just read in the IRS instructions for Form 1099A. What is it about that form that will get you to believe that you can file that form in connection of a debt elimination? What about it? And this is the problem what people have with me. I don't come with my own belief systems. I come with the rules and regulations. They don't want to argue the rules and regulations because they'll sound foolish. They can't argue the black and white words of what the 1099A instructions and the regulations are saying. See, they're not going to argue that. So they're upset that what the regulations say is not conforming to what they want to believe to be true. So they take that inner frustration out on me. It's like, how dare you bring this information to me? How dare you bring black and white factual evidence to me? Now I can't act like I didn't see it. I can't act like I didn't read it. How dare you cast doubt on my hope and dream? That's all it is. That's all it is. How dare you do that, New Culture Empire? How dare you pop my bubble?
Is to get them to give you a C. You get them to give you a C. Now, the reason why I would tell you to go file a C is so you can get it off your credit report. So,
okay. You notice when they show their 1099Cs online, they're never showing the credit report. Okay. So once again, when you get a Form 1099C, it means that the creditor has given up on collecting the debt against you. Meaning from an accounting standpoint, they deem those amounts uncollectible. The IRS treats that forgiveness of debt, the cancellation of debt, as income. Now you must file that 1099C as income. Hold on, let me share the screen. Where I'm sharing at TikTok, I'm not sharing my screen. I'm sharing my screen over here on YouTube. So you must file that 1099C as other income on your Schedule 1. And depending on the amount of cancellation of debt, you may have to pay taxes on it, because the amounts that the creditor deemed uncollectible, the IRS treats that as income. Now, the only way that you may get around not paying the taxes on it, if it's a bankruptcy, things like that, or you file a Form 982 and attach that to your tax return, and that alerts the IRS that you were insolvent, meaning you didn't have enough money to pay your debt at the time the cancellation took place. See, that's the real reality of a 1099C. But the real reality doesn't comport with the narratives of what you see online with a 1099C. See, when they show a 1099C online, it means that the process worked. In reality, it means that whatever you sent in had no legal effect, and they gave up trying to chase you down for your money. So what it really means when they show a 1099C online is that they didn't pay their debt. Their documents and process that they send in to try to discharge the debt didn't work. And now they have to count it as income. Because if you go right here, line C, part 1 on the Schedule 1, 8C, what does it say? Cancellation of debt. That is where you put that 1099C. You see that? Additional income. That's what you're supposed, when you receive a 1099-C online, that's what you put it on as additional income. Not that the debt just went away. Because you want to know what they don't show when they're all here showing the 1099-Cs. They're not showing the credit report. They're not showing that it was paid as agreed. Because if it was paid as agreed, that means you settle for less than the amount that you owe. See, that goes against the narrative again, because they don't want to use their real money to pay the debt. They want to use a process to pay a debt. So they can't show you. That's not a victory for them. So they have to show you a 1099-C and say, hey, the process worked. In reality, when you deal with people that understand what the forms mean, how they're used, this is why I would get blocked. Just like everybody that's talking about a 1099-C, they block me in their lives when I'm just explaining the real reality on how the IRS treats the form. And this is another reason why I say this space is dangerous.
Never want anything off your credit report.
This is why I say this space is dangerous. Because if the rules and regulations are saying something different from what the teacher is saying, they're going to disregard the rules and regulations because it's not conforming to their belief system. This is now turning into a mental health crisis, these spaces. And I think the more people hanging around these spaces with these teachers, I think they're suffering from mental health crisis. They can't function properly in the real world now. Just like how they talk online.
Companies not removing it. You go put the company as the payer, you put yourself as the debtor, and then you put the amount of what the debt is, and then you take it to Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, and they'll take it off your credit.
Okay. So that's what she said. Who can file Form 1099-C? And I've already read these instructions. I've already did this. I'm just getting it, speed it up for you. 1099-C must be filed by applicable financial entities, federal government agencies, or any organization whose significant trade or business is lending money when they officially cancel, forgive, or discharge a debt of $600 or more. So the borrower cannot file Form 1099-C and provide your source. So we'll make it seem like I'm trying to be impartial here. No, the borrower absolutely cannot file Form 1099-C. Form 1099-C is an information return, just like the IRS, 1099-A, that can only be filed by the creditor, the lender who forgave the debt. The borrower is the recipient of the form, not the filer from H&R Block. As noted, tax expert consensus, as noticed by H&R Block's cancellation of debt guide, taxpayers, borrowers, and the IRS receive informational returns like 1099-C. They don't file them. The creditor files copy A with the IRS and sends copy B to you for your records. Okay? Now, if you are the borrower and your debt was canceled, you do not fill out or mail a 1099-C. Instead, you use the information written on the 1099-C sent by your lender to fill out your standard individual income tax return. Report it as income. You must report the cancel amount as other income on Schedule 1, Form 1040, the same schedule that I just said that you have to fill out if you receive a 1099-C, because the IRS treats that forgiveness of debt as income. Like I said, you must put it on a Schedule 1.
You're rocking with the best. You're rocking with the best.
I know. Right there. That's what it said right there. You must report it as income. You must report it as canceled. Cancel amount as other income. You see that? Now, remember when I said that you have to file Form 982 to potentially not be able to pay taxes on that cancel amount? If you were insolvent, what did I just say? You have to prove that you were insolvent.
You're rocking with the best.
I told you, man, this shit is easy. Shit is easy. If you were insolvent, your debts exceeded your assets, or went through bankruptcy at the time the debt was canceled, you can file IRS Form 982 along your tax return to reduce or eliminate the tax liability on that canceled debt. What I tell you? If it's bankruptcy or you were insolvent, meaning you didn't have enough money to pay. That's the real reality when people get a 1099-C. See, they'll secretly file Form 982 on their tax returns, but come online talking about, no, they don't even know that form exists. But anyways, when they find out now, that's what they really gonna do. They're gonna go file the 982 with the IRS, but keep coming back online like shit works. Like I said, these people are not honest. You wanna know why? Because they're all trying to sell your beliefs back to you in exchange for you keeping them afloat, in exchange for you keeping their head above water. That's all it is.
Off. So the 1099-B, yeah.
What? Right.
So that's
Now,
what
let me ask you another question, Tori. We know that we automatically get the cancellation of debt with this when we file the B, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, so no, there's no automatic cancellation of debt when you file the B. What it does, like I said, is it could possibly initiate a audit if the company is not up to state on their books. But that does not always happen. It does not always cancel the debt right out immediately. Now, it does alert the company that you have reported on them. So it actually gives them a chance to, hey, let's go do the 1099-A real quick on them and state that they abandoned the property.
Right. See, you see how she sounds now after we went over the actual rules and regulations? You see how she sounds? Let's report on them after they abandon the property. No, it's reverse. They report to the IRS after you abandon your property or they foreclose. You see what happens when you put what they say the forms are used for, and then you go right to the forms and the instructions, and it's always saying something totally different. Now you see when I say they're making it up, they're making this up. Because this is why I say Tori Martin is a sovereign citizen, just like the rest of them, because they always want to explain what the law says that is 100% in line with their narrative. So they're not going to actually keep pulling up the 1099-A forms and things like that, because that's going to go against their narrative. You notice she didn't put that 1099-A or 1099-C and read word for word with what the IRS is allowing, exactly what she's saying the IRS allows. You notice how she's not pulling up the 1099-C? Because if everybody starts to read it, she's going to have to make up what the words are saying now. Because if it's saying something different, they're going to just rewrite the words and tell them it says something else.
Your main thing is to get them to give you a C. You get them to give you a C.
We just read what happens when you get a C. It means that they canceled the debt, gave up, or forgave the debt. It's not a good thing when you get a 1099-C. See, she doesn't even, I told you, they don't ever study from the horse's mouth. They study from passed down ideologies and beliefs and theories. You getting a 1099-C, you got to report that as income. It means that they gave up on the debt. It means that they couldn't collect. It means you didn't pay. That's all it means. And now you got to put it on the Schedule 1. And the only way to get around paying the taxes on it is you got to file Form 982 telling the IRS I was too broke at the time. I ain't have enough money to pay my bills. Uh-oh. 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 Isn't that the real reason why they come to these spaces anyway? Damn.
Now, the reason why I would tell you to go file a C is so you can get it off your credit report.
Absolutely not. So, once again, we're going to take her words. And this is H&R Block. It's a good source. There are a lot of good sources. Can a borrower file Form 1099-C to remove that debt from their credit report? No wonder why she backed out of the debate October of last year. I see why she backed out. No, a borrower cannot file 1099 Form 1099-C to remove a debt from their credit report. Attempting to do so, it's known as credit repair scam, and it will not work. And there's the link. See, I told you all their processes, their methods, what they're telling you to do, how to do it is always regarding some type of scam. In their mind, they don't think it's a scam. That's the whole problem. They don't believe it's a scam. They refuse to believe it's a scam. But in reality, it is a scam. This is a scam, what she's talking about. Filing restrictions. Only creditors who owns the debt has the legal authority to file Form 1099-C. If a borrower attempts to fill out and submit a Form 1099-C to the IRS, listing themselves as the creditor, they are falsifying federal tax documents, which carry steep penalties. Credit bureaus ignore borrower tax filings. Credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, who build credit reports using data sent directly from banks and collection agencies, they do not accept tax forms submitted by consumers as proof that an account should be deleted. Even if the creditor files it, the account stays. There's a common myth that when a creditor officially files a Form 1099-C, the entire negative account disappears from your credit file. This is incorrect. The 7-year rule. According to Credit.com's Credit Impact Guide, a Form 1099-C does not erase the history of the account. The record of your late payments, the charge-off status, and the collection trade line will still legally remain on your credit report for up to 7 years from the date the account first went delinquent. And this is from Consumer Lawyers US. What actually changes, the only thing that changes when a legitimate 1099-C is issued is that the creditor must update your outstanding balance to zero. The status will change to cancel or charged off, or settle for less than the full balance, like I said. But settling for the less than the full balance, we can take that out the equation because they don't believe in paying their debts back with real money. They don't mind spending real money to buy the things that they want. They don't mind receiving the real money when they're getting in financing. The only thing they have a problem with is paying the real money back. So, what is, okay, so we about to get back to it. So why is people online, goddamn, why is people online posting a 1099-C as evidence that their debt was erased by their debt elimination processes? People online post Forms 1099-C as evidence because they are fundamentally misinterpreting how the tax system works. That is exactly what they're doing. The people who I hear outside the professionals, 99, it's only 1%. 99% of non-tax accountants or tax attorneys, like pro se, like us in these spaces who speak on tax, definitely has a sovereign citizen view of the tax system. Or they are promoting a highly illegal sovereign citizen credit repair scam. What they are showing you is real paperwork, but the success stories they are telling you about it is completely fake. Forging forms to fool followers. Many of these online creators sell expensive debt elimination ebooks or templates. They instruct desperate consumers, desperate, just like the lady in her email who was on Section 8 trying to get $76,000 back. Desperate consumers to fill out a Form 1099-C, list themselves as the creditor, list their credit card company as the debtor, and mail it to the IRS. The proof they post, they will post a screenshot of a 1099-C with a zero balance on a credit portal a month later, claiming their process forced the banks to erase the debt. The reality, the bank didn't erase anything. The scammers submitted a fraudulent tax form to the IRS. When the IRS eventually audits the documents and discovers a consumer filed a fake 1099-C to erase their own debt, the borrower faces severe civil penalties, massive fines for filing frivolous tax documents, and potential criminal charges for tax fraud. And this is why 1099-C is the biggest scam. Look at this right here. Oh, shoot. What did I just do? There are quite a few things wrong with the current tax system, but the biggest one so far has got to be the 1099-C. The 1099-C is a form that a creditor is required to send you if they forgive $600 or more in debt. It's a total scam because you're essentially getting 20-30% of your debt transferred to the IRS. And yeah, whatever. Now let's get back. Okay, never mind. I thought it had something. I thought it had something. I thought it had something worth sharing. There's people just being upset with this. Yeah, the system ain't fair. I get it. In other cases, people who genuinely receive a 1099-C in the mail and celebrate online completely misunderstand what just happened. This is from Michigan State University. The proof they post, when they post the form saying, look, my $10,000 credit card debt was eliminated by my dispute process. The reality, the debt elimination process didn't win. The bank simply gave up trying to collect the money because the account was severely delinquent, past the statute of limitations, or charged off. The bank is required by law to send a 1099-C to report the loss. So, and this is from the Michigan State University. Once again, remember when I told you, when you get a 1099-C, it's because you didn't pay and they stopped. They gave up on collecting it. The catch, the booby prize of legitimate 1099-C. When people post a legitimate 1099-C as a victory, they usually haven't realized the two massive financial penalties that are about to hit them. The tax bill. The IRS treats canceled debt exactly like cash income. If a bank sends you a 1099-C for $10,000, the IRS expects you to list that $10,000 of income on your next tax return. You will suddenly owe thousands of dollars in income taxes on money you've already spent. This is Lewis Rice, Investopedia. The ruined credit. A 1099-C does not wipe your credit report clean. The account balance drops to zero, but a massive, ugly, charged off, canceled debt mark remains on your credit file, dragging your credit score down for 7 full years. Consumer lawyers. These are the sources I'm citing. So when we go back to her, it gets.
You ever want anything off your credit report?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, a audit if the company is not up to state on their books, but that does not always happen. It does not always cancel the debt right out immediately. Now it does alert the company that you have reported on them. So it actually gives them a chance to, hey, let's go do the 1099-A real quick on them and state that they abandoned the property. Your main thing is to get them to give you a C. You get them to give you a C. Now, the reason why I would tell you to go file a C is so you can get it off your credit report. So if you ever want anything off your credit report and the company's not removing it, you go put the company as the payer, you put yourself as the debtor, and then you put the amount of what the debt is, and then you take it to Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, and they'll take it off your credit.
See what I'm saying? You see how you see when we throw the reality, the real legal world, and then we go back to what they say. Now you can see how you could just now you see what I'm saying now? Damn.
Off. So the 1099-B, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. What?
Right. See? Oh, that sounds nice. Oh, she sounds so authoritative. She sounds like she knows what she's talking about. What she's talking about is a scam. They are not going to know. You don't file it. We just read it. Only the creditor files a 1099-C. You're the recipient. So why didn't she tell them when they list themselves as the recipients? Why didn't she tell them to file the Schedule 1? Because the mere fact that she's telling them to file the 1099-C, she is triggering whatever the amount of the debt that was canceled. She's triggering additional income taxes on her tax return because now she has to put it on the Schedule 1. So she's telling you to file the Schedule C, but she's not informing you about the Schedule 1. She's showing the glitz and glamours, 1099-C, oh, send it to Equifax, Experian, and it's going to get the debt removed. What she's not telling you is the mere fact that you filed the 1099-C. The 1099-C is associated with the Schedule 1. So now you got to pay additional taxes to the IRS on that canceled debt. They won't tell you. See how she missed. That's an important part. Hey, 1099-C, but hold on. You know you got to report that additional income. You may have to pay taxes. So if they cancel your mortgage, 1099-C on your auto, you know, if your auto was what 1099-C, let's say 20,000, you know you got to put that 20,000 as additional income. Now you got to pay thousands of dollars in taxes on that. See that's the reality. Now they don't want to have that conversation.
Yeah. If we go in here right now, let's see any debts that you got. So let me see if I got some C's in here. I probably don't. Yeah, because I ain't got no debt. The only two new debts that I got that I'm about to have off my report and here in about 30 days is NailNet. Just popped back up on my credit report with student loans they never gave me. And then this car loan that I'm dealing with from Mercedes that was transferred over to them, which I have a federal case set up with them. So it's going to be off my credit soon. Now, I did not do the 1099-C because
Well, hold on. Let's see if we can find that case. Because you know they like to block case numbers and all that stuff out. What is it? Tori, is it Victoria Martin? Tori, Victoria Martin versus Mercedes Benz. This is a long shot. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. A loaner car. Let's see. Nope. We ain't gonna. I can't. Let's see if I can find her case. She said she has a federal case. She had a federal case with them. I don't see it. I don't see it. So we'll get back to it. She lucky I couldn't, because this was like what, a couple years, like 2 years ago. Let's see. Anybody know where Victoria Martin's from? Is she in Alabama? Is she from Alabama? Does anybody know?
Nah, I don't see. Let me see here. Let's see if we can find her case. Let's see if we can find her case. Let's see if we can find her case. It's Kevin Martin, Mercedes-Benz, granted motion for summary judgment. Grants in part. When was this? Oh no, this was a minute ago. All right, never mind. I ain't gonna find it. I ain't gonna be able to find it. It's all good.
I want to go and get the money from these two companies who committed fraud. It's identity theft, irrigated identity theft, and it's those that's 18 USC 6801A.
Okay, so once again, she cited 18 USC. Private citizens does not have a private right of action under Title 18. Now, let's just go here for a second. Does private citizens have a private right of action under Title 18? Under Title 18. Okay. Does they? Do they? Does private citizens have a right of action under Title 18? I already know the answer. As a general rule, private citizens do not have a private right of action under Title 18 because Title 18 is a federal criminal code. It defines crimes against the United States, meaning the only federal prosecutors have the authority to bring a complaint, file charges, or initiate a criminal case. Private citizens cannot file civil lawsuits for monetary damages or seek injunctions using federal criminal statutes. Under Supreme Court precedent, under Supreme Court precedents, oh, they mad. Don't they like to cite the Supreme Court? Private citizens lack a judicially cognizable interest in the prosecution or non-prosecution of another person. Right. Anti-terrorism, human trafficking are the exceptions in which you can receive monetary penalties based on it. RICO, yeah. So you can sue under 1983, but good luck. So there you go. So that Title 18. Okay, who normally claims that? Who normally asserts that? Asserts that position? I'm gonna let them tell you. I already know who normally does that. I'm gonna let them tell you. Right. So there, in the civil lawsuit, the position that there is no private right action is normally asserted by defendant and the presiding judge. Is this a sovereign citizen rhetoric? Because private right of action is a standard mainstream. No, I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, do sovereign citizens claim they can sue under Title 18? That's what I really meant to say. Do sovereign citizens claim they can sue under Title 18? Yes, sovereign citizens frequently and falsely claim they can sue under Title 18. Filing massive, legally incoherent civil lawsuits using criminal statutes is a hallmark tactic of the movement. They rely on highly flawed, cherry-picked reading of federal law to justify these actions. That's exactly what they do. Now, sovereign citizens rarely cite standard civil laws. Instead, they almost exclusively build their lawsuits around specific civil criminal rights codes.
18 USC 241, 18 USC 242, deprivation of rights under color of law, forensics law, forensics law, forensics law. Ain't that what you always say? I got you clipped up on the video saying it. They use this to argue that any state official enforcing basic regulations like requiring a driver's license or vehicle registration is committing a federal felony against them. They claim this criminal offense gives them the right to demand financial compensation in civil court. There you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. Told you. She is speaking sovereign citizen language.
60, 10, 28. Hold on. 10. My name. USC 10, 20. Any debts? I have a federal case set up with them, so it's gonna be off my credit soon. Now, I did not do the 1099-C because I want to go and get the money from these two companies who committed fraud. That's identity theft, irrigated identity theft. At its most, that's 18 USC 6801A. That's the law. 60, 10, 28. Hold on. 10, 28A. 18 USC 10, 28A. Sometimes I gotta say it out.
So do y'all see what she's doing right now? She is citing Title 18 when you don't have a private right of action under Title 18. And this is a sovereign citizen thing that they do. So she's online once again, I'll call Cap. She is explicitly citing Title 18, and she's going to bring a lawsuit under that. Who normally brings lawsuits under Title 18? Sovereign citizens. She doesn't believe she's a sovereign citizen. None of them believe, but it's no difference between Tori or any other of these sovereign citizen gurus. They don't even believe they're sovereign citizens. They think this is the law. They think the law allows them to do this. Sovereign citizens always take things that are to the system, scams, fraudulent, or no basis in law of fact, and automatically in their mind, they think it's legal and the court should accept it and the system allows it. This is the sovereign citizen mindset. And she's looking up Title 18.
Yeah, aggravated identity theft. When you take...
So right there, she thinks that she can bring a lawsuit under that statute right there, 1028A. What she doesn't understand is only federal prosecutors can. See? But this is your guru. She has clients. She has clients. This is a person with, oh my gosh. I would love to speak to some of her clients.
And go and sell it to the third-party company, talking about, I gave you permission to do so. Well, if it wasn't disclosed, I didn't give you permission. So it's identity theft at its most, and it's a federal lawsuit, and each occurrence is, you got to pay me $1,000 per violation. So, yeah, I don't know how to get this.
Hold on, because isn't that what it just said? They think that you can get monetary compensation. Didn't they just say that? Ain't that what it just said? Right here. Ain't that what it said? They always think they can get monetary compensations. Look, they always think they can get monetary compensations. Right here. They always think they can get monetary compensations. It's a general rule that you cannot file any actions under Title 18. I told you they always looking for money. Sovereign citizens, these natural law people, these esoteric people, they're the same ones who say money ain't worth nothing. They are money hungry. Everything that they're doing, every process is a scheme to try to get free money. So if you're in a desperate, vulnerable situation, you're going to take these classes. You're not taking the classes to understand the system. You're taking the classes in hopes of getting free money.
It's money. Federal court. Just eat them alive. They're going to settle out. Don't matter. But this is what they're doing with your clients with the timeshares. They're taking.
Do you actually think anybody's going to settle out with her? Give her logic. You think anybody's going to settle out? This is the Dunning-Kruger effect. This is a classic example of the Dunning-Kruger effect. Being overly confident of your knowledge and expertise, but in reality, you have very little understanding and knowledge of what you think you understand. Very little. She is elementary with the understanding. And this is the same person who backed out of the live debate with me. I see why now.
Taking their securities and then they're transferring them on the insider trading into a group fund. And then isn't that identity theft? Yes, because I didn't give you permission to take my number and go do all this extra crap with it. And then not pay me my interest when it's due. Yeah, they thieves. So you gotta definitely go after them. So on the 1099-C, it's the same thing. It's a cancellation of debt. Whose obligation is it to pay the debt? It is. People say, oh, it's the United States. It's the Treasury. It's the Treasury's obligation. So there's a trustee. So the Treasury provision circular 300.
Now, look, this is another thing. They do the same thing with the securities under Title 31. She just said the United States Treasury is responsible for paying the debt. And remember, I told you there are misinterpretations and misunderstandings of the statutes. So she's going to use 39 CFR 760.1, Treasury Department regulations, applicability to the Postal Service. So these regulations govern the Postal Service. She is going to take, just because she sees a Federal Reserve Bank there, and a trust indenture there, and fiscal agents and all that there, those little buzzwords, and she's going to stretch this statute or this regulation to make it say what she wants it to say, not knowing that this governs strictly with the Postal Service, has nothing to do with her. I told you, every time they post a statute or regulation to prove what they're saying, the regulations and the statutes are always saying something different than what they think it says. She's taking a word and rewriting the statute to fit what she believes. This is the person who's taking money from people for services.
That's so part of sometimes it's so far obligated. The U.S. Postal Service, don't all your bills come in the mail? Wow.
Look at that right there. Look, y'all, everybody just stop and look at the logic. Because your bills come in the mail, somehow the Postal Service and the Treasury is responsible for your debt. This is a webinar they paid for. You see, they take one little thing and stretch it. Oh, your bills come in the mail. You see, there is no connection. But these are the things that people want to hear. They want to hear shit like this. They want to hear the sky is blue. The sky is sunny. When I'm standing out there with an umbrella like, nah, y'all, it's raining. You see my umbrella? See, they don't want the reality. They don't want the truth. All they want is you to tell them what they want to hear. Remember, the hallmark of a scammer is telling you everything you want to hear. And the hallmark of its victims is you're going to hear what you want to hear.
And why they look like checks? So look at this. The U.S. Postal Service, to the extent that they are consistent with the trust indenture. Boom, what's that? That's the obligation to pay off the debt. The trust indentures are the trustees over the wards of state.
You see how they make the stretch? What did I say? She's going to take a word like trust indenture. Before she did it, what did I just say? She's going to take the word like a trust indenture. Now she goes back to, oh, trust indenture. Oh, that's an obligation to pay. Oh, that's the word of the state. Remember, they're taking a word, trust and diligence in the regulation. And what's the connection that she's making? Her underlying belief system is what connects. They connect the statutes to their belief systems. They're not reading the statute to get an understanding based on the plain reading. They're reading the statute with preconceived beliefs about how it's supposed to go. So they're going to find a statute that has a word, a sentence, or a phrase that's similar to the words and phrases of which they believe. And then they're going to cite that statute. This is classic everyday social media teacher mindset and logic.
So of the Postal Service, so there's the trust and indenture of the Postal Service and the agreement between the Postal Service and the Federal Reserve Bank of New York Mellon as fiscal agent of the United States. On behalf of read, modify. If you this law, you gotta there's a law. It's 31 CFR 306.27. It used to state that they used to give out flower bonds to pay all the bills. We used to receive better checks in the mail.
That's what I'm saying.
They didn't have our
all the success that she's talking about. There's nothing that she's showing. There's nothing that she's showing. If I was to say, hey, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to teach you the underlining about the auto system, the underlying elements, what you need to know, the core elements from my understanding and my interpretation on the facts and evidence. You're going to apply that. And your facts and circumstances, we're going to apply the facts to yours too. I was successful in mine. I'm just teaching what I was successful in my auto case. And I just keep going. See, that's how it sounds. But if I was like, hey, I was successful in my auto case based on the same core elements I'm going to teach in this class and do something like that. See, now it hits different. It hits different. But the only thing people want to hear, remember, you hear what you want to hear. You want to hear that it works. And that's good enough for most people. What about asking, nobody in this webinar has asked, can I see any results? Not at all. None of them has asked. No, Title 31, 760.1 does not exist and does not provide. Hold on.
It was took away the flower.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant Title 39. No, Title 39 CFR 760.1 does not provide any financial benefits, debt cancellation, or special rights to consumers. This specific section exists under Title 39, which governs the United States Postal Service. Online videos or social media posts claiming this statute lets consumers discharge debts or suing creditors are sharing fraudulent sovereign citizens or fake credit repair scams. I told you. Internal Treasury rules. This regulation states that General U.S. Treasury Department Rules Circular 300 apply to commercial debt obligations and bonds issued by the Postal Service. No consumer application. It dictating how the USPS manages its own institutional financial debt and interacts with the Federal Reserve Bank. It has absolutely zero jurisdiction over personal credit cards, auto loan, mortgages, consumer bank accounts. Scams misusing its statutes. Scammers often cite obscure federal regulations like 39 760.1 because they mention debt obligations. They falsely twist this language to trick people into believing individual citizens can treat their personal debts as government obligations to avoid paying them. I swear to God, she just said that. I swear to God, that was kind of what she was hitting at. Who owes the debt to Treasury? I swear to God, that's what she just said. Attempting to use these arguments in court or sending them to lenders can lead to frivolous litigation penalties or fraud charges. There you go. There you go.
Negotiable interest dividend payments, aka bills of exchange.
Negotiable dividends payments, aka bills of exchange.
By 30 days with the maturity date up. So within the maturity date or cash it in, then you wouldn't have an obligation to pay. So that's why all your bills look like checks, because the Postal Service is the fiscal agent for the Federal Reserve Bank. That's an account. Your routing number is the routing number.
Patrick Devine, Gene Keaton. She got all these old services. This is who she studied from. She studied from people like Patrick Devine, Gene Keaton, and them. You can tell your number is a routing number. Knowing damn well the ABA did not issue you your routing number. You don't have a routing number. You see what I'm saying? You see, this is a classic example of the everyday online social media teachers. They all talk the same. No, dividends are not bills of exchange. I had a lady online last year talking about what they say, your bill, it's a check, it's a dividend. Crypto girl was saying the same thing online. I had to break it down to her. And crypto had that sovereign citizen mentality in it. I'm telling you, these people are sovereign citizens. There is another common misconception often circulated in sovereign citizen or fraudulent financial loophole groups. They try to misinterpret corporate or banking laws to claim that everyday financial corporate payouts or personal debts can be manipulated like negotiable currency instruments. Two legal concepts are entirely different under corporate law in the UCC. Its earnings to its shareholders. It is a distribution of profit, not a debt instrument or a promise to pay a third party. A company is generally not legally obligated to pay a dividend until its board of directors formally declares one. What's a bill of exchange? Under UCC 3-104, a bill of exchange, often called a draft, is an unconditional written order by one person, the drawer, directed another person, the drawee, to pay a certain inform me that he scammed 8 people out of $3,000 that was trying to get into their account. Was actually trying to get into their account. And he got mad because I made the video on him, and he said he was going to put a lien on me. He said he was going to my state, and my state is up and running as it's I haven't from, but exactly who Skip the Boss is. He's another sovereign citizen scammer, and the only reason I made a video about it because one of his I'm loading the video up now, y'all. One of his the students actually sent me the email saying what he just did, and Skip the Boss got mad that I went. He got mad that I made a video on it, and then he got mad at me, and then I told him, you know, fuck all the BS. You could pull up if you really got a problem in real life. You could pull up. I'll drop my loc. And he said I'm connected to powerful people. You don't know who you dealing with. So then I did the video. I did the video on his I did the video on the false teachers of Skip the Boss. And he tried to get that struck. He didn't like that either. And from a while. I jumped in his live. I jumped in his live like a few weeks ago. He didn't see comments, and it is what it is. But he's another one. Skip the Boss is definitely another one. Because a lot of work, his 1090 process. Let me see if I could, because I actually have his 1090 his class. Someone actually sent me his 1099A process. Yeah, someone actually sent it to me, and I had it under the false teachings of Skip the Boss. And he had that 1099A process. And of course, like the rest of them, it is what it is. Let me go to the oldest. Yeah, but he's another one. He is 100%. That's sovereign citizen conspiracy.
Why?
She's speaking on the
text.
Right? What she's speaking on. She's speaking on a conspiracy theory. Oh, why I look like this? Oh, why I look like that? Oh, why I look like this? Oh, you see that? See, there's nothing factual there that she can actually point to be like, oh, yeah.
So
See that? That's not what a trust indenture is under the Trust Indenture Act. That's it's dealing with securities. That's exactly what it's. I don't know why is you starting to act. That's nowhere near what it is. Take YouTube. I'm trying to add it to the stage, but it's saying it's having a hard time loading. I mean, sharing. Oh, there we go.
That's the same old sovereign citizen things that they like to use. I said he kicked me out of class when I was talking too much about himself and not the class. Sounds about right. Okay, so this is the problem that she has. I don't know why I keep doing that. It keep busting me out. But yeah, so they're trying to use it like a dividend check, like it's something that the treasury is going to cash. The treasury they're not going to they're not giving you free money. All right, so let's move here.
Then yes, you check. Yes. No, because one, we gotta collect our money, right? We gotta discharge our debt, and so we can report it. And it's always the code. So if it was in judicial relief, meaning we went to court, technically that doesn't have anything to do with court.
Actually, it can be through court. But here's the thing. So she has the 1099-C on the ring. She has the loan number. She has the amount of debt discharge. She has the interest. Guess what she has? She has them as the name. Remember, you filling out these fraudulent tax returns in the corporation's name and you the recipient. That's fraud. That's what Vincent Edwards does. He's going to have you fill out a 1099 in the name of the finance company. And then you the recipient with the withheld amounts. That's what he's going to do.
That's you coming in under a judiciary. So if you have a nationality, you can do a judicial.
So you're discharging with the C then. You're not just taking the credit.
We discharging it. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. Now the third party company.
How can you discharge the debt with the 1099-C when the creditor issues that form when they canceled the debt or gave up collecting, and you got to report that amount of the discharge as other income on the Schedule 1? How are you winning? Now you're responsible for the taxes. But this is the problem when they misinterpret, misconstrue, and falsely mislead people about how the system works.
That's collecting on you. That's not the person you are arguing with. It's the one that transferred the debt. That's your arguee. That is the person you could come back and assert claim fences against. It says it verbatim.
Right. So you see that right there?
You see that? Hold on. You notice how, look, if you go back here, look.
Court. That's you coming in
Okay,
under
right
a
there.
judicial.
Oh, look, she ain't want. No, see,
So
she don't want to show it. Right here. Right here. Eyes right there. God damn it. So you see that 13,000, you know, she shows the top. Okay, she's showing that right there, right? All this right here, this is based on what she filed. No IRS approved the refund. This is why she can only show what she filed. So she's teaching the class under a false narrative. She's showing what's on the transcript as of what she's filed. So she's got them to see that, to think like, oh, this is coming. Oh, we can do it too. But if you file anything in the beginning, it's going to only show as what you filed. She didn't show, there's no finality here. This is just a transcript of your wage and your tax of what you filed as of the date you filed, the numbers you filed. She's saying this. The IRS is not great with this. It's just once they do the calculations and break it down, then we're going to get to it. So she's going to take that's what they was doing. They'll teach classes off transcripts, not classes off, hey, I received the check and sufficient time went by and the check is still clear, so they can show the last entry for that tax year on their transcript that shows the check with refund was issued and nothing's changed. It hasn't been reversed. See, what they'll do is they'll show a check, but they don't. Anytime someone wants to show you a check, ask them, show me the transcripts. And if it was just in the beginning, wait about 90 days, ask for the transcript and get them to keep updating the transcripts, because when the IRS reverses it, you'll never know. All you see is a check. You'll never know when they reverse it. So a check is only legitimate depending on the rules and regulations and the circumstances on how you got it. If you ask anybody who received a refund check for withheld income, ask them one question. Did you physically pay that money over to the government? If the answer is no, the check is erroneous and they're going to reverse it. That's all. That's the only determination. See, they think they could just show you a check, like you're going to be salivating out the mouth. Oh, I got a check, Nah, how did you, is that from a withholding? Yeah. Did you, that money right there, did you physically pay that cash over to the government? The answer is always going to be no. It's fraudulent. You slip through the cracks for now, but when they go back and reconcile the books, they're going to realize there's no fucking money here that you paid over. Let us get that back. They're going to reverse the account, send you a bill. But the problem is they're never going to come online and tell you that happened. So the only thing you see is a check.
I already showed y'all that. So the claims and defenses. This is your 6.
Notice how she has no other results to show except for what she filed at the moment. This is all cap. I don't even get into her deceptive because she's already misinterpreting that anyway. Now, this is her affidavit. Look at the affidavit. This is the affidavit you can find online at Scrib somewhere. Look, this is the affidavit. Yeah, all this. Okay, let's get to it. Let's see it.
My consumer credit transaction rights. So now, if
who is a natural living being exercising my right to rescission. Once again, no court in America is going to allow you to unilaterally rescind your contract. This is a rescission of contract here. You cannot unilaterally rescind your contract because once you sign it, it's a legally binding agreement, and any disputes arising it has to be taken up in court. This is that administrative process claim. And a buzzword is who is a natural living being. That's a sovereign citizen term. Exercise my right to rescission. So as the natural person operating in commerce, I observed that there are multiple violations present and it validates my contract pursuant to 12 CFR 1026-3, truth of lending. No, that does not. There's, oh my gosh. Look at this shit. It's appropriate that we assert in the right to rescind my obligation, renege my initial consent pursuant to the previous claims. There may be many fees in the financial. This is all cap. If you're going to rescind the contract, right? Are you going to send the vehicle back? No. They want to tell you that you can rescind your signature and still keep the vehicle. Where they do that at? Let's say you the auto lender. Somebody want to rescind the contract. You gonna let them keep your vehicle? See, when you look at it from the other side, you will instantly reject the same process that they'll get you to do to keep it. Just reverse it. You're the lender now. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying.
Get the money back on the house too, which is called earnest money. There's no such thing as earnest money because on a finance charge, no money can be handled, no cash. That's what the law says.
Explain the law. Explain the law, because every statute I've read is authorized for a finance charge because there's no financing without a finance charge. See, you see, your everyday life contradicts what she's saying.
So since they did not acknowledge that the law, and they told you, hey,
what the law? You keep saying the law, 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 but you're not pointing to it. You're not going right to the law where it says no finance charge. There should be no cash. Show it black and white where it says it. See, that's the difference between them and us over here. When we talk, you're going to see it for yourself. You're going to see it for yourself. I ain't got to tell you what it says. You're going to read it for yourself.
We need earnest money to hold a house up front and blah, blah, blah. It's a lie. It's all a lie. So they can keep that. They're going to pocket that money, and that's tax evasion.
See, that's the problem with that. That is not how it works. It's not tax evasion. They have tax receivables accounts set up. They pay taxes from all the profits, from all the monthly payments from the borrowers in the pool. They pass the taxes over to the shareholders, and the shareholders, the investors, are going to pay the taxes on their tax return. The company is going to withhold a percentage of the taxes to send over to the IRS. Taxes are being paid. This is black facts. Golly, it's not the fact that taxes are not being paid. You know, I ain't even going to sing them on it.
So you make sure we do the 1099-C on it to cancel the debt.
What I tell you, once again, she's talking about doing something that you legally cannot do.
Which I just showed you. The company is at the top. You are at the bottom. Your reason would be
Go ahead. What's the reason? By agreement? Nope. Debt relief from probate? Nope. Foreclosure election? Nope. Statute of limitations? Nope. Other judicial relief? Nope. Other actual event? Got her. Look at you. Look at you. What's your reason? What's your reason? She going guess H because they ain't nothing by agreement. Not by debt relief from probate or similar. Look. This is what happens when you're just going off the top of your head. You're just making it up as you go. Now let's see what you say.
Decision or policy to discontinue collection, debt relief for probate and similar proceed by agreement.
What agreement? What agreement? She's guessing. Y'all, she's guessing. What agreement? Agreement is a paid in full on your credit report. Settled for less than what the debt you really owe. Hey, you owe $600. You could settle for $150. That's by agreement. Yo, this is cap. This is all cap.
In your agreement, you should have had the right to rescind. So
in your agreement, you should have had the right to rescind. So that's her reasoning for putting by agreement, because there should have been an agreement for your right to rescind. Y'all see this shit? This is why she backed out of the live debate. This is why.
If they didn't put that in the agreement, then it's an automatically null and void situation.
Under what law and authority? I told you, these gurus, it's only when they say it is. It's only when they believe it is. What law or authority that you have the right to rescind a contract outside of a refinance or a home equity line of credit? What other instances can you rescind it? You can't rescind on your residential mortgage, your primary mortgage, when you're buying your home. You notice how you didn't get a right to rescind that closing? You notice you ain't get a right to rescind that closing? You notice you ain't never get those docs? If you didn't get them because they didn't apply, because that's a federally mandated disclosure. So if you're not in a HELOC or refinance, then you don't have a right to rescind. What's the biggest indicator? You didn't get your right to rescission documents at closing. Duh, because it doesn't apply.
So then the fair market value of the property would be that 347,000 plus the 38.
You see this shit here. Everybody that's taking this advice is going to get hit with a frivolous filing.
And any interest payments that you paid, any money that you paid out throughout the month. So this is how it would go. Then
that's not what the fair market value means. The fair market value is not based on the payments you made. It goes based on the value, based on industry recognized standards like Kelly Blue Book, Kelly Black Book, or how much the similar homes in the area sell for. That's the fair market value, not because of all the money and interest. She don't even understand the fair market value.
Remember, you go back and you do another one. So this one's for you. So you'll be down here as the debtor, and then this is showing that they canceled the debt. Once you receive it, accept it, it goes into the system. So then
can we file that through you?
No, don't file it with nothing.
Yeah. You send me the information.
Let me ask you a question though. Because I know that these guys are gonna fight. Okay. And Annika definitely, trust me.
Can't fight. It doesn't matter. They can put up a fight all they want. If you rescind your signature, they have no look. And this is the last law I'm gonna pull up before we get off of here. Hold on, look at this. So this is 12 CFR subpart B, open-ended credit. What is open-ended credit? That's what Annika gave. So in that section, we have.
Oh my God. No, that's not what it means. Oh my gosh.
The right of rescission. So we go.
This is on a open-ended credit, like a line of credit. I told you, she thinks this is a plot. They'll take one statute that pertains to something totally not relevant to their situation, and just because the language in the statute was saying what they want to hear, they're going to apply it to their situation. This is an open-ended credit. Look. Oh my gosh. This is crazy.
Go down here to the effects. So it says, notice of right to rescind in a transaction or an occurrence subject to rescission. A creditor shall deliver. So that means the company, the investors. He said it's an investment loan, right? He's just making up crap. So the investor is required to give 2 copies.
You lying. It doesn't. Oh my God. The investor. Oh my gosh. They are dealing with the securities issued by the trust. I know your little peon brain thinks that they physically sold your mortgage to them like they're holding your mortgage. That's not how corporate financing works on the secondary market. It doesn't work like that. God damn. All these securitization investor securities people don't know shit.
To each consumer entitled to rescind one copy and a notice to deliver in electronic accordance to the consumer's consent.
This is in accordance to an open-ended line of credit, refinance, home equity lines of credit, not your residential mortgage.
So the notice shall be identified.
Within 20 days. It's all buyer's remorse. Yeah, I want to take out the credit using my house as collateral. Never mind. You have a right to rescind. But this is not your standard mortgage, autos, none of that.
Action and occurrence and clearly, conspicuously disclose the following. The retention and acquisition of the security interest. That's what he said. We must protect the security interest, right? Well, why?
I told you, literal interpretations and literal meanings.
Why you didn't tell me I had the right to rescind, sir?
Because you're not in that type of transaction where the right to rescind is applicable. Because if you did, you would have got those docs at closing, or at the execution of the HELOC or the refinance.
Now
they tell you in this statute that it doesn't apply to loans. They tell you the right to rescind does not apply to residential loans. Let me go. Hold on. Let's see. Hold on. Let me pull it. See if I can pull it up. I think it was here. I think it's, let me see. Okay, let's go here. Let's go to a lawyer. Let's go to what a lawyer has to say. Let's go to a professional. I can easily pull up. I can pull up the statute there. The 3-day right of rescission is a federal consumer protection under the Truth in Lending Act in its implementing Regulation Z. It gives a homeowner the right to cancel certain mortgage transactions within 3 business days of closing without penalty and without giving a reason. The right exists to give borrowers a brief window to reconsider loans that places a new lien on the home they live in, not your original home, a new lien. The rescission right applies to refinances, home equity loans, and home equity lines of credit secured by the borrower's principal resident. It does not apply to a purchase money mortgage, the loan used to buy the home, nor to loans on a second home, vacation property, or investment property. Wasn't she just saying investors had to do this? The investors had to do this.
Delayed. So you guys didn't give me an opportunity to rescind by disclosing. So it says the consumer's right to rescind is described. So that means you have to have a written out statement stating verbatim, you can do this. This is our rights. So how to exercise the right to rescind, which the form of that purpose is designated, where to send the address, where you want to do, what the time delays. So if a creditor delays.
This is a federally mandated thing. If it applied to your situation, you would have gotten the documents. Look at Tori. This is Tori. Tori Dorchelle Martin. This is her. This is her. Now I really see why she backed out of the debate. I see why now. I was going to mop the floor with her off her own words.
His performance. Delay of creditor performance. Unless a consumer waives the right to descend to receive.
The context is refinances, home equity lines of credit, and home equity loans. Not the original money used to purchase the home. So all this is useless. None of this, all this is useless right here. This is useless.
Under paragraph E of this section, no money shall be dispersed. What does that mean? That means they didn't give you an option to rescind and they took your contract to the Federal Reserve and the Federal Reserve paid them in 3 days.
There you go, right there. Remember that? The money, the contract's going to the Federal Reserve. Remember that? The contract is going to the Federal Reserve. We just busted them down on that 3 weeks ago. Title 12 USC Section 412. That's what she's referencing. This is another guru teacher. She's nothing. What's different about her and 5,000 other channels? You hear people who's teaching consumer financing. They all say the same thing. Phew. Look at this shit.
Verbatim. I can show you that too.
No, don't show. You're just misinterpreting everything that you've been showing. Don't show nothing.
So disperse escrow, because everything is a mortgage-backed security, your car, your house, but this is really a mortgage.
This is really a mortgage. She's misinterpreting what she thinks. It's not saying what I told you. They don't have the understanding that they think they do. They think they know it all, but they have no clue what's really going on. And we're going to end part 2. We're going to come back for part 3. But this is one of the reasons
Don't
why.
miss out on this opportunity to litigate like a seasoned professional. Join the Supreme Elite Team University.
Thomas in the lobby, folded thicker than a skyline. Credit acceptance on a resume with stories in the fine lines.
Right there, live. Patreon is up and running. Patreon at the New Culture Empire. I swear to God, the videos and the classes that I have, you won't be getting nothing like this. I won't even waste your time. I wouldn't waste your time or money, but no shit out like this. It will be a waste of everybody's time. Join the Patreon. Links in the description. Join the Patreon at the New Culture Empire. Join the Patreon. And I have another breakdown of the Cat Files coming this week. I'm not going to tell you who. It's going to be a surprise, though. Y'all all know this person. Everybody knows this person. So I don't know how they may not. I'm a person that I don't mind meeting with people in real life. So, you know, they have a problem. We can, you know, we can talk about it in real life. You know. All right, y'all. Y'all know what time it is.
You're rocking with the best.
They studying the source now. Supreme Elite. New Empire talk. Came on reading numbers. They were reading memes. He was reading filings. Planning out the dream. Turn every late fee in the case law heat. Judge bang gavel. He don't skip a beat. They like how you flip stress into assets. How you turn a loss in the last check. Thomas took notes, broke codes, then he proved it. Now the classroom global and the language fluid. Thomas is the blueprint. Write that in the sky, let the crew print. From the courtroom smoke to the new man. He designed the way we move our 2 cents. Thomas is the blueprint. Supreme Elite Team, that's the school stamp. From the first lay bill to the full camp. New Culture Empire, watch the flag plan. Supreme Elite Team University. Turn the credit score into currency. Turn the closed door to a first key. Turn the side job to a legacy. He beat odds, then he beat litigation. Now we teach law like a new translation. From confusion into consultation. From survival into foundation. They log in, lights on in their eyes now. Section this, call that. They reply.
You're rocking with the best.
You keep hearing words like the ledger. Join the set you. Join the set you. You want to get official accounting breakdowns. Also, we got a special guest appearance for Class 7 set you. We have the Fannie Mae worker IT specialist. Job description is to process the payments from the lender to the investors. So he will be appearing for Class 7 for Set U. Now, Class 7 is going to be 2 parts. There's going to be a pre-recorded video of Class 7. And then we're going to have a live, I'm going to have a live meetup in the group for Class 7. So I will be interviewing him live. If you're in this Supreme Elite Team University on Telegram, if you're in there on Telegram, if you have any questions, I'll let y'all know when to get the questions, because I know some of y'all got HELOCs and investment properties and this. If you have any questions for him, I'm gonna let you know so I can inquire. I will be interviewing him live. That's going to be part 2 of Class 7. So early in the day, you're going to get the pre-recorded video. Then we're going to have the live meetup for this special guest. Also on tap coming up, have a real estate investor buddy. We was on the phone with him today. It's going to, he has insight on how to get financing, how to get structures, the best structures. He's a real estate developer. He builds homes. So I have him on tap coming, trying to get the lawyer to possibly pull up for Class 10 or 11. So I'm going to start infusing professionals, real professionals, in the Supreme Elite Team University. Also, day trading. Want day trading tips? Have a Series 7 securities broker friend. We're going to start the day trading aspect of the insider access class, which is being launched. I had to push it back a week because I'm still getting the finishing peaches, which that is teaching on how to put you in the best position to maximize your corporate finance and lending ability, corporate financing, how to get corporate financing, not consumer. We're going corporate. So those are some of the things that we got going on slated. We got the Fannie Mae, got the real estate developer, got the Series 7 securities broker, and trying to get the attorney to make a guest appearance is it's going to be a hard sell. Doesn't necessarily do it. But if not, we'll keep it pushing. Train don't stop. But we still have direct access to its insight and things of that nature. So it's going to be a little hard because a lot of these people don't like to go on record. Given their position, their job, they don't like to go on record. So I'm going to find a way to at least try to make it happen. But yeah, join the Patreon. It's up and running now. The mortgage reality is set. You was there for now. Join the Patreon. More tiers are coming. More tiers are coming. I'm going to have the webinar tiers. Supreme Elite Team Vault, over 600 videos that's never seen the light of day on social media is going to be in the group as well. It's going to be in the tiers as well on Patreon. Also going to be going live on Patreon as well. So if you're a member, when I go live on Patreon, we talking about some stuff that I won't talk about on here. So you want to become a member so you can catch the exclusive live streams. Also, live meetups, live conferences, webinars. If you are a member, you get the discounts. You get early bird specials. You get the discounts. The merch, the New Culture Empire merch is coming too. We are taking this to another level. But yes, you want to get in there because we're having live speaking engagements and you want to be there live. You can see me live and direct. We're going to meet up live And yeah, it's going down. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the rest of your Saturday. About to go finish watching Netflix with the wife, cook dinner, chilling in the house tonight, get back. But remember, ladies and gentlemen, use discernment. If it sounds too good to be true, 9 times out of 10 it is. Do not let your immediate circumstances start making decisions for you. Always be in control. And please, before you start throwing your money out here because it sounds good to your ears, seriously sit back and vet the situation. Ask the tough questions. If they're talking about, if you send this in, it's going to discharge the account. Simple. Well, how would that look from an accounting standpoint? This is why set you and my group is so important, because you'll be able to see through these gurus, because the way you're seeing it from the level they see it from. So you'll be able to come back here and just see directly through them. This is why it's easy to see through them. You're going to learn how to think like them, messing around with me. Because if you can think like them, you can beat them. One love. One love.
Don't miss out on this opportunity to litigate like a seasoned professional. Join the Supreme Elite Team University.
Thomas in the lobby, folded thicker than the skyline. Credit acceptance on a resume with stories in the fine lines.